Thanks, Christine. I'm Kaya, and I'll be talking about the Dewey 6 steps with the effective problem-solving meetings. Many problem-solving meetings are ineffective because they fail to follow an organized procedure. The point of our presentation will be to tell you about the 6 steps adapted from Dewey's classic reflective thinking process, so you can organize any future problem-solving meetings accordingly. The first step of defining the problem is crucial because many people look over this point, assuming they already know what the problem is, when someone in their group or several people may not actually be on the same page as everyone else. So it's important to clear up any confusion at the beginning of any type of project by stating out front in front of everybody what the issue is, what the problem is that will be researched and discussed, to avoid confusion or, any failure in the project. Then researching and analyzing the problem is the second step. You complete this step by listing all the topics that need to be researched and discussed by your group. And then next we have step 3, which is establishing a checklist of criteria. It's basically a checklist of requirements that a possible solution must meet in order to be selected by your group. Step 4 is to list all of the possible alternatives with your group using methods such as brainstorming or the nominal group technique, both of which are very good to use in several situations, not only in group projects, but just in daily life. People can use those for pretty much anything. And step 5 would be to evaluate each alternative. So using the list of alternatives you and your group came up with in step 4, everyone is going to begin eliminating the ones that they don't think meet the criteria that was listed in step 3, which is important, it's important that you do it, following the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in order, because as you can see, this step is going back to look at 2 different steps. And finally, we have step 6, which would be selecting the best alternative. The final decision can be made using one of a few methods: a consensus, which is where everyone agrees on the outcome, or a compromise, which no one technically wins with a compromise because somebody's giving up something, but not, everything, just so that they can agree. That's usually used in time crunches, or if nobody can just agree. If you can't get your whole group to agree, that's when people would use a compromise rather than consensus. Might be easier. A few tips and tricks you can use to remember to use Dewey's 6 steps. Ensure that you and your group are able to communicate well, or the 6 steps will be difficult to follow, because if you and your group can't flow well just as a unit, then it usually causes issues within the group, causing many other problems. So just make sure you guys can all get along as a whole together. And you can remember the abbreviation DREAS, which is define the problem. R, research and analyze the problem. E, establish a checklist of criteria. A, list all possible alternatives. E, evaluate each alternative. And S, select the best alternative. Thank you. I will be handing it over to Alan now.